Celebrating 49 years on the air, award-winning Farmweek is a production of Mississippi State University Extension.
Today on Farm Week, a big win for rural vets. Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins makes a huge announcement at Mississippi State. Plus, talk about bugging out, our latest installment of Inside Extension. In Southern Gardening, an oldie but a goodie, the American elderberry. And in our feature, one last chance to meet the reigning Mississippi Logger of the Year. Farm Week starts right now.
Hello everyone, I'm Zac Ashmore.
And I'm Mike Russell. Great to have you with us again here on Farm Week. USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins paid a critical visit to Mississippi State University recently. With her was Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith, Mississippi Farm Bureau President Mike McCormick, and MSU President Dr. Mark Keenum. Rollins came to make an important announcement, but not before touring the university's College of Veterinary Medicine in support of her Rural Veterinary Action Plan, a comprehensive strategy for solving the nation's critical shortage of veterinarians, especially in rural areas across Mississippi and America, a shortage that comes at a time of animal health challenges and which threatens our food supply chain. At a press conference, Rollins gave praise to MSU.
Mississippi State is truly leading the way in cutting-edge technology as we fight for food security and farm security, meaning national security.
That's what we're here to do, to serve our state, to prepare outstanding future leaders, to excel in this profession. And as you know, Madam Secretary, we have a dire shortage of veterinarians, especially rural practitioners.
So today, USDA, right here at the Mississippi State Veterinarian Headquarters, is issuing the Rural Veterinary Shortage Action Plan.
We know how important it is. I know firsthand the hardships that farmers face when it comes to veterinarian care. The announcement made today, it's going to have significant impact.
We are enhancing and streamlining USDA's veterinary grant programs. We are making an additional $15 million available for the Veterinarian Medicine Loan Repayment Program and streamlining the application process.
During the press conference, 2 MSU grads now working in the field were awarded grants to help expand vet services in Mississippi. One of them is Dr. Tim Klunk, profiled recently on Farm Week, and we'll run that story again in 2 weeks. Here's a sample.
I grew up showing cattle with my mom. Being a vet is something I've always been around from the time I was really little. I went with her on emergency calls to the clinic late at night. Saw a lot of different things that most kids don't see growing up. My first year of vet school, my little brother passed away in a car accident. A lot of the reason I wanted to do large animal work kind of goes back to my family, and my little brother, he was really involved in large animal stuff. That kind of played a big part of it. I feel like it kind of solidified that I knew I wanted to come back and give back to the community that raised me and also be there for my parents. Kind of starting out the day, usually get here a little before 8. See what the appointment schedule looks like for the day, kind of the layout of what's going on. What does she have on her papers? Being kind of a new large animal vet in the area and being a new vet in general, there is anxiety that comes with it. You have to improvise with, different ways of being able to evaluate what's going on. We have to pay the bills, to keep the lights on, to pay support staff, to pay ourselves, and also the cost of the medications that go into it.
Dr. Klunk and colleague Dr. Rachel McCurdy were each awarded grants of $125,000. Both of them serve farmers and producers in multiple counties. More details when we encore that story in mid-September.
In a new edition of our Inside Extension series, more research to help the row crop farmer, especially where it concerns insect pests. At DREC in Stoneville, Mississippi, research underway to determine just how much damage is required before intervention. Soybean farming faces many challenges concerning pests and disease, the former being a prevalent issue from time to time, as insects can not only be seasonally pervasive, but annually as well. Some species can be a small problem one year, only to become an infestation the other. Dr. Don Cook at DREC in Stoneville has an ongoing project with the MSPB to study this issue and develop damage thresholds for farmers to use.
What we're doing is general insect management in soybeans. That sounds broad, but it allows us to work on any insect pest that shows up in soybeans, anything new, anything current that we're aware of, keep our recommendations up to date. One example of something new is in the past when red-banded stink bugs blew up, we were working on thresholds for that. Another instance is when 3 or 4 years ago when the salt marsh caterpillar blew up, we were working on those as well. It just gives us a lot of flexibility to deal with things that may or may not show up on a regular basis.
By being proactive in the understanding of what damage certain common insect pests can do, this research helps farmers better understand how much their fields can tolerate before pesticides are necessary. A costly and time-consuming thing, not only for the farmer, but for their fields as well. This research is integral to understanding insect pests, knowing when to fight them, and ensuring good yields for the producer. So, this kind of research is very useful for the farmer. It's being proactive and finding solutions to problems before they even happen. That's the kind of important research projects Extension does to help the people of this state.
On the lighter side, in today's Southern Gardening segment, a plant is very good in numerous ways for your landscape and your health. Here's Dr. Eddie Smith with more on that.
Today on Southern Gardening, we are visiting Veteran Berries in Decatur, Mississippi, where elderberries are taking root and thriving. For the past 3 years, Dwayne Hemrick has been dedicated to growing native cultivars like Hamilton, Pocahontas, and several other selections of our American elderberry. These native elderberries are well suited for our southern climate. They thrive in full sun, appreciate consistent moisture, and grow especially well in Mississippi's rich, loamy soils. Elderberry blooms are born in large, flat-topped clusters, often measuring 6 to 10 inches across, and can easily stop you in your tracks with their delicate beauty and smell. They are magnets for wildlife. Their blooms attract pollinators, while the berries provide food for birds and, of course, for us. Once the blooms fade in early summer, they are followed by the development of clusters of small green berries that slowly ripen over several weeks. By mid to late summer, those clusters transform into heavy drooping bunches of deep purple, nearly black berries, signaling that harvest time has arrived. Whether you're looking to make syrup, jelly, tea, or even wine, elderberries are a great native plant to grow. Just remember, the berries need to be cooked before eating. Veterans Berries shows just how productive and sustainable elderberries can be here in the South. I'm Eddie Smith, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Southern Gardening.
We'll take a break right here, but don't go away. Coming up in our Farm Week feature, one last chance to meet the reigning Mississippi Logger of the Year. His logging company is well known for its operational excellence, and he makes it a regular practice to invite forestry students from a local college to his job sites. Bottom line, he sets the bar very high and works hard to perpetuate his standard of excellence. The 2024 Mississippi Logger of the Year, that's coming up on Farm Week. Don't go away.
I believe in people and their hopes, their aspirations and their faith. I believe that education, of which extension work is an essential part, is basic in stimulating individual initiative, self-determination, and leadership. I believe that these are the keys to democracy, and that people, when given facts they understand, will act not only in their self-interest, but also in the interest of society. I believe in intellectual freedom to search for and present the truth without bias and with courteous tolerance towards the views of others. Because I believe these things, I am an extension professional.
I believe in people and their hopes, their aspirations, and their faith. I believe in my own work and in the opportunity I have to make my life useful to humanity. I believe that education is a lifelong process, and the greatest university is the home. That my success as a teacher is proportional to those qualities of mind and spirit that give me welcome entrance to the homes of the families that I serve. Because I believe these things, I am an extension professional.
Time for the market report. Harvest season getting underway.
In its early stages, and there's a lot more to go. We'll get into it and more. But first, the numbers. What were the week's biggest gains and losses? And then we check in with the USDA to find out the latest in U.S. crop progress. And finally, what are the biggest issues facing the row crop markets? An expert weighs in along with some weather predictions. So, markets closed trending slightly up, livestock going up while row crop split. Let's take a look. The week's biggest gain, lean hogs up nearly 4 cents, more than a 4% increase from the previous week. The week's biggest loss, lumber down 54 bucks. That's nearly a 9% decrease from the previous week. So we're getting to the start of harvest season in the U.S., and although it's early, things are moving fast. So, how far has it gone and how do our crops look right now, at least for our major row crops? Here's the latest crop progress report by the USDA to tell us. In the 18 highest corn-producing states, dough stage, which is when the kernels accumulate starch and thicken, at 90%, 1% higher than this time last year, but 1% lower than the 4-year average. Dented stage, when the kernels start to form a dent at their crown due to starch amount and moisture loss, at 58%, the same as last year, and 2% lower than the 4-year average. Condition looking pretty good, with 65% reporting good to excellent. In the 18 highest soybean-producing states, Mississippi included, setting pods at 94%, 1% higher than this time last year, and the same as the 4-year average. Dropping leaves stage, which is when the plant sheds leaves before full maturity, at 11%, 1% lower than this time last year, but 1% higher than the 4-year average. Condition also positive, with 66% reporting good to excellent. In the 15 highest cotton-producing states, Mississippi also included, setting bolls stage, which is when the fertilized flowers turn into bolls, at 90%, 4% lower than this time last year, and 3% lower than the 4-year average. Bolls opening stage at 28%, 7% lower than this time last year, and 2% lower than the 4-year average. Condition not very encouraging, with 44% reporting good to excellent. In the 6 highest rice-producing states, once again, Mississippi included, harvest at 33%, 9% lower than this time last year, but 6% higher than the 4-year average. Condition quite positive, with 77% reporting good to excellent. So, with a little bit of context to set us up for the start of this season, what are the markets telling us right now? Analyst Sue Martin says international conflict helping the prices of grains, keeping the U.S. price competitive. She also gives us predictions on what early fall weather is expected.
And part of our situation with prices remaining so low and not very robust, so to speak, is because Russia's got to pay for a war, and therefore their values of wheat are low and have been ever since we basically seen them start the war, and we peaked at a high and came down. So we have to compete. And right now, I would say we look at Russia's crop. Even Ukraine's experiencing something similar. It's been very dry, but yet the spring wheat in Russia is thought to be yielding good, but it's very poor quality because they had a lot of rain in that area, and they used that to blend off with. So, you know, not all is great there. And then Ukraine, of course, very dry as well, and less production. So, you know, the global side of the equation sounds like we're still going to have plenty of wheat, but right now, I would say maybe the U.S. is a little competitive. You know, the southern rust, if you're north of I-70, the southern rust is really taking a toll. And I would have to say, you know, if you have a severe case of southern rust, it can take 45% of your yield. And the good thing about the southern rust is that it does not winter over like tar spot does. So that will be the good side of it. But still, it's bringing crops home quicker. I've heard reports out of Illinois where the stock condition is not good and stocks are falling over because of it. So it's going to be an interesting time, but it certainly, I think, has all of a sudden gotten everyone thinking the yield's going down and just how much is it going down. Now we're arid and dry now, but the weather sources that we're following that we have found to be very accurate this year and have been for probably the last 3 years are predicting that by mid-September we're going to turn cooler and wetter. Not a good thing for if you're wanting to harvest beans or corn. And I think that when you're already starting to look at the greatest yield potential, and now you're ratcheting it back. And then if we turn wet, I think all of a sudden the commercials, the elevators and what have you, and ethanol plants are going to think, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to improve this basis to see if I can get them to try to bring me something. And of course, we all know that there's plenty of bin space on farms available now too.
And that's it for a deeper look into the markets. Seems row crops faring pretty well right now, but if predictions of a cool, wet fall come to fruition, we could very well see prices rise significantly as the predicted heavy grain harvest this year doesn't live up to expectations. Mike?
Thanks, Zach. And now, as promised, one last chance to meet the reigning Logger of the Year for the entire state of Mississippi. His company has been in business for more than half a century, but there's more to the story, including the way this gentleman teaches those likely to follow in his footsteps. Meet one more time, Ricky Summerford from Fulton, Mississippi.
As long as everything's moving and everything's going, you know, I just try to make sure everything's in place where it needs to be, and most of the time the best thing I can do is kind of stay out of the way.
Sage words from the 2024 Mississippi Logger of the Year, head of the well-oiled logging machine that is Summerford Enterprises out of Fulton, Mississippi. It's a machine that's run smoothly since the late 60s, more than half a century of serving what's now the $1.5 billion timber industry of the Magnolia State. But even more telling is Ricky Summerford's message. Hire good people, make sure they're well trained, let them know what's expected, and stand alongside them as they produce.
I've been fortunate enough to put together a really good bunch that works for us. Like I said, I've become a much better delegator as I've gotten older. So as far as my philosophy, we try to come and make a productive day every day with what we were able to do. And I try to keep them in good equipment to work with.
Anything and everything that I've ever done with Ricky Summerford has been top notch.
Justin Dewberry is with West Fraser Wood Products, working out of Guntown, Mississippi. If anyone knows the professionalism of Summerford Enterprises, it's him.
I think it's a great honor to be, at first nominated Logger of the Year, and then across the whole state, end up being the winner of Logger of the Year. And I know it's good for him, and it's a lot of public relations involved with it. People see him, they know he does good work. His family, I know they're proud of him. On a scale from 1 to 10, I'd say he's a 10.
The logging business, of course, isn't the easiest business to be in, what with rising costs and quotas. John Owl, Certification Programs Coordinator for the Mississippi Forestry Association, knows that all too well. Still, he knows Ricky Summerford's up to the task.
The markets aren't the best. Across the board, the markets aren't great for a lot of products now. And so in order to maintain business, you have to have somebody like his timber buyer out there constantly ahead of you. Where is the next stuff going? Do I have quota? Do I have, the ability to haul this material? And you just have to keep on working. You got to move fast. But at the same time, you have to take care of the property that you're actually harvesting. I mean, you look around here, it's a good-looking harvesting job. And you have to leave it this way. And that takes time as well. I mean, it's not all just about cutting the trees and getting them on the truck. You have to take care of the person's property, and you have to treat the landowners fairly, which is what he's done his whole career, and his father. Like I said, they're reliable, and that's really what you're looking for. But it's a very tough business. The margins are 1 to 3% maybe. High volume, low profit business. And to make it work, you have to be a business person. You can't just go out there and do that. You have to watch all your costs, all your income, everything.
Ricky's father, Carl Summerford, started the company way back in 1969. It was a much different business back then, but at 81, he's still out here nearly every day, keeping an eye on things, and says he's proud of his son.
I think he's a pretty outstanding fellow myself. He's always been a good kid growing up, worked hard all of his life, and still works hard, works long hours, and we've always had to, and he's just all around a good fellow.
One reason for that pride, the way Ricky works to perpetuate excellence in the industry. And one way he does that is by inviting students from nearby Itawamba Community College to observe. Emily Loden-Jones is program director at ICC in forestry technology. The school produces forestry technicians ready to enter the workforce, or they can transfer to Mississippi State to get a Bachelor of Science degree from the College of Forest Resources. She says Ricky has a big picture view of the business.
I always appreciate Ricky spending time with them and talking to them and giving them a different perspective on the forest industry other than just mine. He provides real world situations for them to watch, and he allows them to participate. He's very hands-on with them, and we appreciate that he is willing to put that much time into educating our future forestry professionals. He provides lab opportunities for us to go and cruise a tract of timber that they have purchased, and then we get to compare it to what the actual harvest volumes are, which is an excellent learning experience. He lets us come and watch him, of course, log and sort products to load onto trucks, which is also a wonderful thing to understand too.
Colton Bird is one of Emily's students. His major is forestry wildlife management. He first wanted to be a game warden, but now is leaning toward forestry. He says it makes perfect sense that Ricky was selected as Logger of the Year.
Honestly, it does not surprise me just from sitting there talking to him. He has an amazing amount of intelligence towards forestry and just logging in general. And it's just been, like I've said before, it's been passed down through his generation of his family. And I can see why he's so good at it and why he's out here working day to day and even working on other sites, just him and his dad. I can see why, and it's really amazing.
Bottom line, Ricky, who buys 100% of everything he cuts, holds regular safety briefings, is careful with BMP regulations, works to preserve the environment on every job site, and maintains a blend of equipment that's well maintained and/or under warranty, has high standards for daily workflow. After all, the company reputation is on the line.
I try to treat everything like it was mine, and I own timberland myself, so I try to treat every job just like I would if it was my own, and then also, like I said, we got a lot of repeat landowners that we work with, so you really want to keep them happy.
Ricky Summerford, Mississippi's 2024 Logger of the Year, a busy man to say the least. But with everything on his plate, we asked him somewhere down the road, when you decide to retire, you're at home watching football, how would you like to be remembered?
I'd want him to say, that he was a hard worker, honest man, fair man, someone that would willing to help others, willing to help somebody out, somebody that cared about what he was doing. I don't know what I'm going to be doing when I'm 81 if I'll make it that far, but I'm sure I'll still have my hand in it somehow.
Congratulations once again to Ricky Summerford of Fulton, Mississippi, the 2024 Logger of the Year. Well, next week, before we announce this year's Tree Farmer of the Year, another chance to meet the current winner.
He's well known across the nation, but he's also one of the most humble men in the profession, despite a body of experience that puts him at the very top.
He's a third-generation forester and manages 60,000 acres. To say that he knows the industry is an understatement. The 2024 Tree Farmer of the Year, next time on Farm Week.
Remember, if you missed a story, look for past episodes of Farm Week on our website at farmweek.tv.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. See you next week. Thanks for watching.